Out on the homestead where life feels whole, we're planting seeds, nurturing the soul. Clean living, organic, straight from the land. With every sunrise, we take His hand. God provides from soil to sky, the food we eat, the herbs that heal in His creation.
Welcome to our first episode of our Healthy Homestead podcast. We are sitting here on our farm recording this, so if you hear a dog in the background or perhaps a rooster crow, well, we apologize in advance, but that is life here on Back 40 Farms. And this episode is going to be pretty much just an introduction to Lisa and I and our farm, our journey, and why we decided to create this podcast in the first place. And also, if you want to listen to the entire song that was part of our intro, we will play it at the end of every episode. And it's also located on our music page on our website, which is bffidaho.com. Yes, we create our own music, and this song fits in perfectly with our lifestyle as well as this show. With that, I want to introduce my wife, Lisa, of 33 and a half years. My, oh my, how time flies. How did we end up getting so old is the real question.
Well, I don't have a good answer for that, but here we are.
Here we are. Our second episode is actually going to be probably a part one and part two because it's over an hour. And we want to break it up. We want the shows to be roughly, 30 minutes, quick and painless. We're going to be talking about different topics and things that can help you and things and products that we use. It's not going to be a sales pitchy type podcast. Don't get me wrong there. But in order for you guys to understand why we're creating this, it's really important that you know our background and history, because it's important to know that, because that will help you understand why we are here and why we do what we do today. So, Lisa, take it away. Let's get our listeners educated on our background.
All right. Well, it's been a long journey for sure. We, when our kids were young, we started out just like most people with young kids. Didn't know what we know now, ate food out of a box, out of the fast food lanes, and it just was, standard American type of situation, I guess. But I always had an interest in fitness and nutrition. I used to teach fitness classes, and that kind of propelled me towards learning more about nutrition. Wanted to be in good shape, So as I started delving into that, I started looking at the food industry a lot more closely, and I did not like what I found. It was bad. It's nasty. There's a lot of garbage in our food.
I remember, though, this is years ago, that you would, I'd be eating something horrible, tastes great, because it was full of sugar and chemicals. But I remember you starting to slowly tell me, hey, did you know that this was in this? Or did you know that this can cause? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. But man, you were really the catalyst of us moving to a farm and all of this. So it started, I remember, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because man, we used to eat some crazy stuff, and then you started saying, I'm not eating this. And I'm like, well, if you don't eat it, then I can't eat it. That's not very fair or nice, but.
Well, of course, that led to me cooking more, which I love cooking, actually, is something I really enjoy. But we started buying organic food, produce, meat, and all of that. That led me to wanting to start to learn how to can my own food. So I started that process with a mentor that helped me. And I started with the easy thing, tomatoes, no big deal. But we had a little box garden outside of our house, and we grew a few things, but it wasn't anything too major. But as I kept going down that road of learning about all this stuff, I was like, it'd be really nice if we could have a little more of a garden. Well, where we lived was a big, beautiful home on an acre, but it was still in a subdivision. So, we were kind of restricted on what we could do, what we could grow. We're not having any, farm animals on that kind of a property. So we thought, maybe it's time to start looking around and seeing if we can find a little more space. And as it turned out, we ended up with a lot more space.
Yeah, we did.
So we joined a CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture. I think that was around, I don't know, 2012 maybe, 2011, something like that. Found some great mentors there, and through that process also started learning about essential oils, which has become kind of a thing that we do. But yeah, so we had some really good, they became our really good friends. You know, we were members of their CSA for several years.
And we'll double check before we publish this, but let's not give these people just ghost faces. It's Steve and Wendy Smith, and they're right down the road from us, and it's Spyglass Gardens. They offer some CSAs still today. Amazing, amazing people. They really taught us a lot. So if you're hearing this, then we have approval to mention their name, and check their website out too. They're phenomenally wonderful people.
Yeah, so, you know, we just had this growing desire to find more acreage, to expand our garden, to start raising chickens, you know, just have a little more capacity for getting reconnected to the processes of sustaining ourselves, and not having to be so relying on the food industry and outside sources of stuff. So that journey started in around 2018 when we found our beautiful property of 42 acres. And it's actually only a couple miles down the road from where we used to live, so we didn't have to move too far. But it feels like a whole world away from that. And it was a complete lifestyle change for us to go from the gorgeous 5,000 square foot home to, you know, an old farmhouse that was built in 1915.
And when we decided to sell that and move here, yes, if you're wondering, our kids did think that we either had, one, lost our mind, or two, we were having a midlife crisis. And and many people thought we were nuts. And early on, and sometimes even now, I think we're nuts. But
we feel nuts sometimes. So, you know, our joke is that we downsized our house and upsized our property. And man, I couldn't have more joy about any decision we've ever made in our life. It's just been fabulous. It's been hard work and a huge learning curve, but it's been so nice to have our hands in the dirt and to learn all the things that we're learning and feel like we're really self-sufficient. I mean, not 100%. It's hard to get to 100%, but we're always striving towards that. And it's just very fulfilling to have the knowledge that everything you're eating on your plate, you produced on your own property. So that's kind of,
there's I mean, and both my son and wife are chefs, and they make the most amazing things. I'm like pretty easy. Like, what do you want? Oh, eggs and toast. Yes, the toast is sourdough that's made from scratch. We don't buy any of that poison bread from the store, but it is totally different. One, it tastes better. Two, you know what is in it, or more importantly, what's not in the food. But just the other night, I mean, we had pork chops from the pigs that we raised here, mashed potatoes and garlic and all of that. And I'm looking at this plate, and we do this a lot. It's like every single thing, including the spices and the cilantro or whatever, was grown right here on the farm or raised, and our hands, with God's grace and help, created it. It just makes every meal amazing, for sure, as far as taste and health and everything. It's a wonderful experience.
Yeah. So we were really blessed to get this property, and it happened in a way that felt like it was just divinely appointed to us. So that's kind of a cool story that we can get into maybe at some point. But we're really interested in history in general. Ron does a podcast about the American Revolution. We've taught some history to homeschool co-ops and stuff like that. But we really, when we moved in here, we wanted to find out all we could about the property, the history of the property itself. And we had a really hard time for a while because there wasn't much information out there until we actually, by chance, met the Davenports. And they were the people that homesteaded this property in the 30s. So that was really cool. We actually had an opportunity for that gentleman to come out here. He was the son of the people that homesteaded the property. So he gave us a tour of our property now and told us, a lot about stuff that we would never have known otherwise. Gave us some old pictures, stuff like that.
And all those old pictures are actually on our website as well. You can look at them if interested.
So, we have a real solid connection to this ground now. And that's important. I think it's really cool to feel that way, knowing what we know and who was here before us and, how it's been used in the past and all that kind of stuff. That just feels really rooted. We, interestingly enough, had already created a holding company called Back 40. And when we found this property, it's almost 42 acres, but the name just fits so well that we stole it from that and used it for the farm. So
that's why and how we are Back 40 Farms.
Yeah. So the name just fit perfectly. So we used it, and again, that's kind of part of the story of how we feel like God led us here. I had a garden growing up in my family. We kind of lived on some property when I was growing up. But, as a kid, you work in the garden, but you don't necessarily know the planting and the seeding and all the other parts of it that go into it to make a healthy garden. So even though I kind of had that background, I didn't really have a lot of solid know-how in how to do that. But I started learning, I started researching, I started gathering books, and I have a ton of books about organic gardening and all kinds of different methods and different ways of growing food. We started with our garden in one place, and then we moved it to another place and built an orchard where the garden had been, and then we moved it again. So it's kind of this whole, experimentation and learning process that we keep going through with finding what's working best.
I learned a lot of ways to not do something. So
Indeed, yes. But we've been self-taught in all of this stuff, and we're always learning. We thought, 3 years in, we'll probably kind of know what we're doing, and here we are. It's been 6 years, right?
Yeah, 6.
And every season we learn more and new stuff. So.
And let's give a little bit of back history as well. We created our own companies. We had several companies, self-employed. We sold all of our companies and retired in 2013, and then got unretired when we got on this property. But I used to fly around the country and help businesses grow, and very independent and corporate-y, and the clothes I wore were definitely different than what I wear today. So we when we sold our place and moved, it wasn't just, we're changing our house. I mean, our entire lifestyle changed. And man, if you compare one to the other, I would take the current one over what I used to do, hands down. I mean, so we didn't have a lot of history or knowledge or experience in anything that we're doing now. And like Lisa said, a lot of self-taught, a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of mentorship. And so if we can do it, anybody can do it. And we understand that many people are not living on 42 acres or 5 acres, or maybe you're listening and you're in an apartment. Well, guess what? You can still have organic, fresh, lettuce every single day, and you hardly have to do any work. And we actually have a video on our YouTube channel that shows you how to do that. So if there's a will, there's a way, and there's other small things that you can do or change that make really significant differences.
Yeah, I think everybody's in a different place on their journey, right? So, I mean, we've been working towards this for 6 years now, and I'm sure we have a long way to go as well. But wherever you are in your journey, you can always take some kind of small steps to improve your clean living, your healthy habits, or whatever. That's kind of our goal of this podcast, is to help you along that way. Find some little ways that you can implement into your life to make everything healthier for you.
You guys, I think, might just be wondering, okay, you guys are on 42 acres and you create your food and grow your own food, but maybe they want to know what kind of animals we have on the farm.
Oh,
so
sure they do.
let's
Well, the first thing we added after we moved in was goats. Just because I like goats, I think they're cute. We don't really use them at this point for, milk or anything like that. I just was kind of obsessed with them. So
they're an attraction for local folks that come and do farm tours.
Yeah. So we've always had them since we moved in. That was the first thing we did. And then horses shortly after that. Funny story about that. When we first moved onto the property, the people that lived here before us were horse people. They had horses. They had a big corral and a round pen attached to the front of it. And we decided when we moved in, we don't need that round pen. We're going to take it down. We did repurpose it. We used it to build compost bins with the planks that we took down. But funny, right after that, we met a gentleman that came onto the property and was looking for a place to keep his horses for the winter. And all of a sudden, we got introduced to horses. So we now have 7 horses. We've had as many as 13 And they're pasture horses. They graze. We don't have them in stalls or anything like that. So that's fortunate for them and us, I guess.
And if you're listening from another state, or maybe you just want to move, shout out to my best friend, Dave, who he has White Hawk Realty. He's amazing. He's helped us buy and sell many, many homes. Yep. And if you're looking for a realtor, this is a shameless plug, but he's worth it for sure. So just look up Dave Peterson, White Hawk Realty, because remember when we were at the other house, this big mansion looking thing, and you and him had looked for a year and a half, and I got tired of looking, and I finally just said, Dave, take all the filters off and just the best property, whether we have to build or not build. And he said, oh, look, this one popped up, and it's 1.2 miles from where you live now. So we came and looked, and the property was amazing, and the trees and the creek that runs through the property. But we looked at the house, and it was okay. It's built in 1915, right? So it's older than what we have been accustomed to. And so I looked at the size of the kitchen and went, as much as Lisa and Tony like to cook and love to cook, this is not going to fly, because our other house had, a fridge that was the size of a van and 2 dishwashers and two ovens, two of everything. And literally the kitchen that we have now is smaller than our master bedroom's bathroom. It's doable. They do amazing things, but I just knew, because the kitchen was going to be so important to her, that it wouldn't fly because it's too small. And much to my surprise, after we toured the house and the property, she's like, yeah, I think we can do this. And I'm like, what? Maybe we are having a midlife crisis. I don't know. But so, yeah, there. So there's my little addition.
There's the story. Yeah. So we got the goats, we got the horses. And through that process, we were introduced to equine therapy. The gentleman that brought his horses out has been doing equine therapy for about 20 years. And he introduced us to that. We didn't know what it was. So we started learning all about that, learning about horses. Eventually went down to Texas to get certified in natural lifemanship.
Yeah, and the guy that actually introduced us, we met him through Dave, our realtor. Yep. And he, Johnny's amazing. He's been doing it forever, and he's in the Idaho Cowboy Hall of Fame, and he used to ride bulls. Like, why, I don't know. But, so on our property, we also do equine therapy. We do them in groups, and we do individual sessions, and basically helping anybody that's suffering or has obstacles with anxiety, PTSD, a lot of veterans, a lot of younger kids on probation. We do probation work. And so that kind of just happened, and then we built a 6,000 square foot arena, and so we had that going on, and all the while continuing learning about what is in this product, what is in this food, why are we using this when it has 18 chemicals, and all of this stuff. So it's just kind of been a lot of education, and really shocking to me. Like, we used to use this? Why in the, all that. And so it's just kind of morphed into a lot of things. So after the horses, and we got that going, we got some alpacas, and we just had a baby in July. And by the way, all of our animals and videos and stuff is on our website, bffidaho.com, as well. A lot more are on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, so in pursuit of our education, we decided to go to a homesteaders conference. I think that was 2019. We went to Virginia, which is one of our favorite places to go. And we were exposed to a variety of things there. One of them was Joel Salatin, who did a chicken butchering demonstration, which, we had thought about that being something that we were probably going to want to do, but man, it was hard to watch that first time.
Yeah, and
I turned to Ron and I said, I don't know if I can
as much as I would like to, say I'm a man, and of course they're here for our food, and I could do it. It was shocking to me. I understand all animals we eat die, but to have that be your responsibility and watch it, I was quite shook up, actually. Now we butcher, 120 chickens a year and all that. But I will tell you that every single chicken that we process here, we have the best equipment, the least amount of pain, the best that we can for the bird. And we do out loud give thanks for every single bird that is giving their life for us and others to eat. And I had one guy say, dude, chickens are the dumbest I don't care. It's giving their life for us, and we want to give thanks. So, but that was a great conference because a lot of things were shown to us that we weren't even exposed to or never even thought about.
Yeah.
So and that's part of again, educating ourselves and being around like-minded people and learning and growing.
Yeah. We really felt it was important to get some of that knowledge because, as I said earlier, we want to be self-sustaining. We want to be able to produce our own food. And being on a farm with animals and everything else that's on a farm, it's really eye-opening. You get to see the cycle of life and death. We have had animals born here. We've had animals die here. And we're so much more connected to the reality of that than most people are because we see it, all the time. I think people who, don't have that opportunity are disconnected from their food, and that's why they aren't necessarily aware of what goes on in the food industry and what kind of processes and what kind of garbage is in it,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff like that. So, I think if everyone who wanted to eat meat had to kill their own food,
there'd be a lot of
vegetarians
in the world. And so we have goats and we have alpacas and we have
chickens.
Oh yeah. Chickens. We have to have chickens. We freeze dry a lot of our food and veggies and our chicken eggs. It's quite the business now. It didn't start out to be a business, but we like to freeze dry everything. And I think we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's see. We have the horses, the goats, the alpacas, the chickens. We have 4 dogs because we don't have enough animals outside. We had to bring them inside. So we have 2 German Shepherds and an Italian Greyhound and, of course, a Chihuahua. So there's your
because that's a good farm dog.
Yeah, very good. I mean, it's such a good farm dog that at night, literally, and I'm not kidding, we have a high-powered flashlight and we have to go out at night with him because hawks and not hawks at night, but owls at night have been known to pick up small dogs, and that happened just down the road. So we're not far from the Idaho Birds of Prey area, and so it is something that
it's
right?
a concern.
It's something we never thought we'd have. Let's make sure that that Romeo, our Chihuahua, doesn't get
carried away
carried away with an owl. But I mean, our owls here, they're so huge. And we hear them at night. And again, it's just part of the farm experience that's unique, and it's pretty cool, except for when it's 3 a.m. and you're trying to sleep.
Yeah, of course. Well, and we get woken up by the roosters crowing in the morning and, all of that stuff. So it's just a huge lifestyle change, but well worth it, really. I mean, I wouldn't trade it. I really wouldn't. We, started to have a lot of interest in the farm when we were putting stuff out on socials, and people started requesting, can they come out and see the farm? Can they come out and see the animals? So we decided to implement a way for people to schedule a tour to come out and, see the whole farm, see the animals. Had a lot of people come out. We've done that a lot of times. And of course, like Ron said, the goats, they're a draw. People love to see the goats and the chickens. Kids seem to be kind of fascinated by chickens.
or scared of them, actually. A lot of people are paranoid or scared of birds and anything with a beak, which is fine. I mean, we don't force anybody on. But yeah, we started doing tours, and I think maybe one of the draws is that we're the only farm in the United States that has a kangaroo. Adonis is his name, and he's so cool.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's super cool.
In the past, we've also raised turkeys and pigs. So when they're around, people get to see them too, and we try to educate people, especially about things like the pork industry, which is gross, and educate people about the pork industry, the meat industry in general. You probably have heard about, vaccinations going into beef and all of that kind of stuff. So, as many things as we can raise to feed ourselves that we know where they came from, that's stuff that we've gotten into. We have 4 cows right now. Hopefully they are all pregnant. So we might have more cows next summer.
Little babies.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. We've actually had 3 cows born on the farm already, and 2 of them were girls, so they're going to be kept for breeding stock. The male that was born here, we raised him up as a bull, and then we sold him eventually. So right now, all of our females are out there ready to have babies so that we can continue the process. We've also milked our dairy cow in the past, and that's another learning process that we're still working on. But
it's the best. It's the absolute
is.
best yogurt I've ever had in my entire life. The milk is amazing, but the yogurt
and the cream and the cheese
and the butter
and the butter.
And the butter. I mean, there's nothing like milking a cow and then seeing all that can come from it.
Yeah. So currently our cows aren't in milk, so we are very fortunate to have a dairy right down the road that sells raw milk, and we can get all of those products.
The milk
from
we
them.
drink is raw? Isn't that super dangerous? Only
No.
13 states actually sell it. Yeah. I know you can get very sick from it, but we'll talk about that
On another episode.
On another episode, yeah. I drink it every day, including the cream, including the ice cream, and everything else that they provide. And it is 100% raw, the best, healthiest food as far as milk and dairy that you can have. But we'll talk about that in the future.
Yeah. So we're not at all opposed to partnering with other farms, and we've done that quite a bit in the past. When we offer products, sometimes we do partner with other farms. And one of our goals is to put on farm-to-table dinners. So that's hopefully coming this year. We have a lot of things in place to start that process. So we're working on getting those kind of menus put together and putting together packages for people to come out and sit down out in the open fields and eat dinner that was produced here or on other farms close by, and just enjoy the sunset and have a really nice experience with that. So that's one of the things we're working on too.
Yeah, I mean, like sitting, eating an amazing meal that's cooked by Lisa and Tony, and then sitting as you're eating it, you're overlooking, onto a creek, and then you just turn your chair around, and then you watch the most beautiful unobstructed sunset that you've ever seen. And I've seen a lot in Italy and Hawaii, but our sunsets out here are pretty phenomenal.
Spectacular. So on our continuing journey of health, one of the things that we did was started seeing a holistic chiropractor. Fabulous guy that knows way more than I can even imagine.
Most doctors. I guess he is a doctor because,
Yes.
but he's phenomenal. FYI, we're going to be able to have him on our show as a guest, and he is remarkable. And he is a big part of my story. When we moved here, I was about 215 pounds, 220, somewhere around there. Blood pressure, probably pretty high. I was always scared to take it. Still am to some degree for some reason. It's kind of a, what do you call those when you're afraid of something?
White coat
Well,
syndrome.
I get white coat syndrome a lot. Although I don't anymore because I don't go to the doctor unless it's a broken bone or something. But I was very unhealthy, probably. Looks-wise, I was definitely overweight. My blood work was not great. My mood wasn't great because there is a mind-gut, relationship, and if what you're feeding your gut is crap, that's kind of how you're going to think, and that is so true. Look it up. We'll have links and all of that, but it is absolutely true. So.
And you were on a bunch of medications.
I was on a tremendous amount of medications for anxiety, for sleep, for depression, for cholesterol, for this, for that. I watched my parents take a lot of prescriptions, and it was just, I thought that's how it worked. And
it's pretty normal for most people.
Yeah, very normal. And in fact, the last time I went to a doctor years ago, what medications are you on? I'm not on any. And they're like, well, you're 55. I'm like, well, thank you. I know. But I'm not on any medications. And they were just like flabbergasted. But nonetheless, about 3 years ago, I started to really hone in on what I was putting in my body, what I was putting on my body. And of course, on a farm, you have a lot of steps in a day, walk anywhere between 7 or 15 miles and never leave the farm. Not so much in the wintertime, but When I was eating what we grew, eating the meat that we raised, he also put me on some phenomenal supplements, which eliminated over 50% of my aluminum that was in my body, along with a plethora of other issues. And my last blood work and hair test that really goes into the nitty gritty showed that, yeah, there's still room for improvement, of course, but he said, basically, you're the healthiest 55-year-old I've ever seen, and your blood work and the way you look is that of a 21-year-old. I went from 215, 220 pounds. I'm now at 160, which is weird.
Without dieting. I mean, there was
no I never dieted.
Intention, like I'm going to try to lose weight.
I know, and people that haven't seen me in a while are like, are you okay? Are you sick? And I'm like, I don't know. I hope not. But, this is healthy. And I'm just, to be honest, I'm not 100% used to it. I'm not used to wearing my son's medium shirts. A medium? Are you out of your mind? I always had extra large. 38s sometimes were a bit snug for my pants. Now I'm in 30s. And it's just weird because I feel like I'm wilting away, but don't get concerned. I've had all my blood work. I've been told I'm as healthy as I can get. And
not on any medication.
No medications, which I think was a part of it. So that's part of my story. There's a before and after picture that you can look in the show notes. I'll have a link to it. That's pretty embarrassing on one hand, but kind of cool on the other, because you kind of get to see what making some changes, the results that can happen. So that's a little bit about my story. I mean, why was I on all those medications? Because I believed what my doctor was telling me. Yes, I had some trauma growing up. Yes, I had a pretty significant traumatic event while I was in the service, and all of that, right? But there's alternatives to most medications. We're not anti-physician. We're not anti-medications. In some instances, it's needed. So don't think that we're, oh, you take a pill, shame on you, because we don't judge. But for us, and for me particularly, I don't take anything. In fact, I don't even take ibuprofen and Tylenol anymore, which you'll find out why on the next episode. But that's a little bit about my story, and it shows what slight changes over a short amount of time, 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, can do. I'm pretty confident that if I would have continued on the path I was on, I would probably not too far off in the future be in the hospital with diabetes or heart issues or something, because when you're packing around 45, 50 extra pounds, your bones wear out, your feet ache. I was also on pain pills. I mean, it was a nightmare. So enough about my story, but I wanted to tell you to encourage you, because I've been on the other side, and now that I'm healthier and lighter, it's much easier to do things, and it's a comfort to know that what we're doing is in fact helping and working, and so we want to just be encouraging to you that no, we don't expect all of you to go out and buy 42 acres and to all of a sudden have 300 animals and raise your own chickens and do all that, right? But there are certain things that this podcast is going to help educate you on, and we have a lot of resources on our website. We have a wellness center that we put products that we either use or have investigated, and they're clean, they're not toxic. And we're always adding to that. So you can click the wellness barn on our webpage and that will take you there. We have links to our essential oils, which are huge and very beneficial, and on and on and on and on. Yeah. We just really want people that are interested in becoming healthier to have knowledge, have a resource to do it, because I can go online and find a whole bunch of, I don't know, pay me $199 and I'll send you this pill and I'll send you this supplement, and this is actually, and it's garbage. 99% of it is complete garbage, and we want to help those who want to help themselves. Yeah,
that's a big thing, right? We're about education because we want people that are interested in making a difference in their own lives, that are willing to put in a little bit of time to do a little bit of research, or at least hear what we have to say, so that you can make these changes in your own life. Whatever applies to you, whatever, we're not expecting everyone to go out, like Ron said, and change everything about your life, but you can make small changes that can add up and make an impact for you.
Yeah, and our goal is to not change the world, right? The world's a big place, and that's not our goal. But our goal is to help those who are interested in helping themselves. And if you're listening to this podcast and that resonates with you, awesome. I hope you keep listening. I hope you check out our website. I hope you enjoy our videos of our cute little animals. I hope you check out our resources and all of that. And spoiler alert, I guess it's really not a spoiler alert, but Lisa will be putting together a cookbook that's going to be available for sale in the near future. And I'm just telling you, and I'm sure you have somebody in your family maybe it's you, that you would consider the most amazing cook on the planet. Every single thing she makes or Tony makes is so good, and it's so healthy. It doesn't taste healthy. It tastes like I'm eating stuff that I shouldn't, because...
Well, it tastes like real food.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Which is different. We have a hard time now. We used to eat out a lot. And... A lot. And, not necessarily just fast food, even nice restaurants or whatever, but we found that after we started growing our own food, that it's really hard for us to go eat out, especially breakfast. We're used to our own eggs, and they look different, they taste different. They're nothing like the commercially produced eggs that are in every supermarket. And so it's hard for us to go out and be like, ooh, this is so good, and when it's kind of not.
Yeah, for sure. And, so in short, as we wrap up this introduction to Lisa and I and our backstory, so you have an idea, this podcast is meant to inspire you to want to be healthier, inspire you to have healthier living. And how do you do that? Well, we want to provide you with practical tips that can help you. And that could be here what we tell you. But the cool thing about this podcast is every single episode is going to have show notes with links and things like that. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of information on our website, and it just continues to grow every day. We have resources with different programs that you can join as far as that. Our blog is chocked full of amazing articles, whether they're funny or educational. We try to have a mixture because life is fun and we want to make people laugh and smile too. We try to do that a lot on our social media. And, our wellness barn, our country store, which we'll probably talk about maybe on a future episode, but we freeze dry a lot of what we grow and raise here, and freeze dry it because it lasts for 25 plus years. And no, we don't put any preservatives in it like every single store that you see freeze dried. It has all these it has all of these chemicals and preservatives. And why? You freeze dry something, you're taking 99% of the moisture out, and then we heat seal it in a 7 mil Mylar thick packet. We heat seal it and put in oxygen. You don't need a preservative. But anyway, that's for another episode. But our goal with this podcast is to share knowledge with you.
And empower you.
And empower you, yeah.
You can take charge of your own destiny instead of relying on your doctors or the food industry or any of those things. Your psychiatrist, if you have one, that kind of stuff, right? We have, we're continuing to learn about wellness, holistic remedies, herbology, all of these things. Big proponents of natural healing, both physical and mental health things. So we do things like diaphragmatic breathing, polychromatic light treatments, grounding, a lot of work with essential oils, and just removing toxins from our home as much as possible. There's so many environmental toxins outside and inside your home. Why would you not want to make it as clean and healthy as possible?
Yeah, and that's actually going to be our next episode, probably episode 2 and episode 3. I'm going to break it down into to 2 because it's an hour long, where we talk about how many hidden toxins are in plain sight in your home. And just as a teaser, those that take Tylenol and ibuprofen, like I used to, I'm on a farm, I'm 55, I'm picking up hay bales, I'm picking up a goat, I'm walking 7 to 10 miles a day, my feet hurt. My body hurts. And I would pop those, and it helped, right?
Well, even worse, you were on pain pills.
Well, I was on pain pills.
Period of time.
So
which is even more destructive. But.
Yeah. So again, I don't take any medication. I do take supplements, but as far as anything over the counter or pharmaceutical, no. And just as a teaser, if you take Tylenol and ibuprofen, which is spoken about in great length in our next episode, Tylenol has 19 ingredients and ibuprofen has 14. And they contain things like stuff that you'll find in car wax, so it shines. You will find chemicals that are the number one ingredient in eye drops and a whole slew of other stuff. And I'm like, why? It just doesn't make sense. So as convenient and inexpensive and easy as it is to take Tylenol if you have a pain or ibuprofen to get the inflammation down, I won't take them anymore. It sucks because, well, it doesn't suck. It's great. But then I had to do research and, okay, what can I take? Well, did you know that ginger is a fantastic anti-inflammatory? It's great. And most people know ginger's awesome for the stomach, which it is. But it's also very good for reducing inflammation. And turmeric. Am I saying that right?
Turmeric, yeah.
Turmeric. I always want to say turmeric. But turmeric is, when you mix it with black pepper, it's like 2,000% absorbed better in the body. If you mix it with pepper, you don't have to. But turmeric is probably one of the biggest anti-inflammatory natural powders or root pills that you can get.
However, it is very well known in the supplemental industry that turmeric is very often contaminated with lead. So you want to make sure you're getting it from a verified, good source.
Yeah. And so when you see the links that we provide on our website, or we recommend a product, we're not going to recommend a product that someone close to us haven't used, that we haven't researched, or in most of the cases we have in our home ourselves. So when we recommend a product, just know that we've done our own research and maybe saved you the time.
We're vetting them very well.
Yeah, save you some time. So anything else that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
I don't believe so. I mean, we kind of covered a lot.
Yeah, we covered a lot. Sorry. And hopefully, you have a better understanding and background of us. Again, there's more about us if you're interested on our website.
Yeah, if you want to find out more history about the property, there's some information about that. That's kind of cool. If you're a history buff like we are, I think it's kind of neat. Yeah,
if you go to the About Us page, you'll learn more about our family, our animals, our farm, our eggs. There's a page of history of our property, and it shows you pictures from like the late 1930s and 1940s, and it's kind of cool to see those. It was for us. And then compared to today. And check out, and all these links will be in the show notes, but check out our YouTube. A lot of educational things, like I was talking earlier about growing lettuce year-round, or having organic lettuce at your disposal constantly with hardly any room being taken up, so you don't need a big garden. And there's just a lot on our website. So I don't want to be one of those guys that say, hey, just check out our website because there's a lot there. But truly, there are so many resources and links, and our wellness barn. Obviously you can check out what we sell, our freeze-dried items on our country store, which, by the way, is being added to. We've added 6 new products already this month, and we're only, 19 days in the month. And we are going to start selling meat and other products that we haven't as of yet, and so everyone's super jacked about that, because how do you get clean protein? Well, we raise it and cook it and freeze dry it and then make it available for sale. And if you want to eat it right away, cool. If you want to eat it in 25 years, that's okay too, because it's still going to be good. And we also make our own music, and it's kind of fun and just kind of silly, but there's some really good songs. So check out our music page. And with that, we are going to end this introductory podcast episode and hope that you tune in. The future podcast shows are going to be about a specific topic or, a product or something that is going to be beneficial to you. And right now we're going to sign off. Lisa and I both wish you a good rest of your day or night, depending on when you're listening, and hope that the rest of your week and month is super blessed. And here is the full song of, you heard a little bit on our intro. Goodbye and God bless.
Out on the homestead where life feels whole, we're planting seeds, nurturing the soul. Clean living, organic, straight from the land. With every sunrise, we take His hand. God provides from soil to sky, the food we eat, the herbs that heal. In His creation, we find our way to live with purpose every day. The healthy homestead where peace is grown, a place of love, a life well known. Alternative paths where wisdom leads, nature's bounty fulfills our needs. Helping each other, sharing the light. In simple living, we find delight. God provides from soil to sky, the food we eat, the herbs that heal. In His creation, we find our way to live with purpose every day. The healthy homestead where peace is grown, a place of love, a life well known. With every plant, every tree, a reminder of His gift so free. From the earth beneath to the skies above, we walk this path in grace and love. God provides from soil to sky, the food we eat, the herbs that heal. In His creation, we find our way to live with purpose every day. The healthy homestead where peace is grown, a place of love, a life well known. The healthy homestead, come and stay. Find joy in life, God's perfect way. The healthy homestead, come and stay. Find joy in life, God's perfect way.